okay, what do you want? What type of benefits do you want? What type of pay do you want? What areas do you want to travel in? How can we be the best employer for you?
Let's go. We are here again for another episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed with your guy Beez, where not only are we exposing everything related to being an entrepreneur, but we look at it from a lens with a twist of business acquisitions. And today I got my guy Q from Priceless Regime, man. Let me tell y'all about this dude first and foremost. It's interesting because I did not actually use his service. But when I heard it, I was like, yo, this is value. And I'm sure he could tell you I've been one of the biggest supporters without even using his service. And the reason I didn't use his service is because at the time I found out about his service, I was coming out of the trucking industry. But I saw what he was doing, what him and his team was doing. And I was like, yo, this is value. I'm gonna tell the world, yo, check these guys out. No affiliate link, no nothing. I just kept pushing towards them because I knew what they were doing was good. So today, y'all are gonna get to hear this as well. So Q, what's good, my brother? Welcome to the show. How you been, man?
What's good, Beez? How you doing, man? How's everything going?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm doing great, man. Hey, introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit more about you and what you do.
Gotcha. So I'm Q with Priceless Regime. So basically, Priceless Regime is a brand. Basically, in the trucking industry, our claim to fame is trucking management, which is kind of different than dispatching or having your own trucking company. We focus on the management part. So we're the fleet managers. We handle the day-to-day type things in trucking on your behalf.
Nice. So in essence, if somebody is coming in using your service, they got a turnkey trucking solution because it gets to operate without them as much as they want to have it without them.
Exactly. Yep. So I just if you want me to go ahead and go into it, kind of like
let's start back first and tell me how you got to that level first. Then we explain more about what that service is like.
Gotcha. So how we originally started off is, of course, we wanted our own trucking company. So we started our own trucking company, and that basically birthed our dispatching company. So in the midst of actually getting our trucks on the road, we already were studying the industry, and we understood dispatching from a different perspective. So we were actually dispatching individuals before actually getting our trucks on the road. So basically, once our trucks got on the road, we were still dispatching. And it's funny because we met Beez in Chicago. This had to be, what was it, about like 2020? Like 2020, like 2020, something like that. So we were already dispatching. We were already had our own trucking company. We had 4 trucks at the time. And what we started to do was we was hollering at Beez. Beez was like, man, you guys pretty much got a turnkey trucking company, like a turnkey service. Because at the time, we were helping individuals, but we weren't like marketing that, hey, we're helping you with your trucking company. We're just kind of doing it off GP, just kind of helping individuals. We'll do a consultation with them free of charge, just assisting them starting their company. And what we realized from that conversation that we had with Beez was, yo, you got another company here. Like you just.
Oh, I didn't know this story. I didn't know that.
We were doing it, but we weren't charging for it. We weren't charging for it because we looked at it as like.
All right, guys, before we get into the full episode of Entrepreneurship Exposed, I just want to take a moment to thank you all for supporting this channel. This channel means so much to me. You all mean so much to me. Because this information is the type of things that I wish that I knew when I was like 17 years old, right? We're talking about wealth creation strategies, not plays. Never talking about, hey, we could run this quick play to make some quick money. This is all about sustainable strategies that won't go anywhere. Whatever else you may be doing, this information will supplement it and help you take it to a whole nother level. So what I would love to ask each and every one of you is if you could like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, do all of that for me. It supports the channel. It helps us to grow, helps us to get this information out to more people so that we could change more lives. So thank you again for supporting. Make sure that whatever you see in here, whatever you learn in here, that you go and execute on it. And then drop a comment and let me know how it went out for you. Hopefully I'll even see you in the BBI where I teach how to acquire businesses and everything about entrepreneurship. Let's go.
We already in this industry. We got our day-to-day trucking company things to do. We already dispatching, but we didn't really look at it from a point of, okay, people actually want this service, and you really, brought it home once you said turnkey. We hadn't looked at it like that. So from there, we actually started now helping individuals and charging individuals to get their trucking company up and going. So by then, we already had kind of like the statistics. We had already helped a lot of people prior to actually charging, because we didn't just put the pieces together and say like, hey, okay, we're going to charge. We was kind of just doing it, friends of the industry or individuals that just needed help. Yeah. So I started off like that, and that eventually birthed. We put some guidance behind that, some structure behind that. So once we put the structure piece, the guidance behind it, we tacked on the fee with it, and that actually birthed the official turnkey. And so I appreciate that, Beez.
Hey, for sure, man. And like I said, bro, once I see value, I know value, right? And somebody may say, oh, but how can you recommend them if you didn't actually try it first? Like I said, you walked me through what you were doing, and I knew the problems that existed in the trucking industry, right? But okay, hold up. Before I go into that, we got to take a step back, because let's talk about the trucking industry in general. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of different ways that you could get into trucking. You could be a fleet owner. You mentioned that you also was doing dispatch. You could be a owner operator. You could do trucking management. You could focus on being the broker. What else? Anything I'm missing?
Man, you could do things in compliance. Trucking has so many different pieces in it. You can do compliance. There's a lot of moving pieces in the compliance side. You mentioned fleet owner. You mentioned dispatching. Now we're going to introduce you guys to fleet management, which is a lane that's still untapped. It's like a gold mine. What we do is a gold mine.
Because I'll say the reason I was coming out is there was a lot of difficulties. It didn't fit my model that I needed to do, because I was running multiple companies, and I need something that didn't require me to be as invested in the industry itself, right? I needed to hire professionals that are running it, but trucking was one that still pulled me back in. Right. And the biggest problem in trucking in general for ages has been finding good drivers, finding and keeping good drivers. And I think that was the key with you, when I was like, okay, so basically you're doing like a turnkey solution, but what about the drivers? And you was like, yeah, we find the drivers. I was like, oh, I say less. No, that was it. I was like, right there, that solved so much for so many people, man. And now there's some other problems that exist in the industry, but we'll get into that in a moment and see how you're helping to handle that. But yeah, bro, that you solved a critical piece of it for people. And I'm not saying you made it easy for you to find drivers. You just made it easy for someone like me as a customer to not have to worry about finding the drivers. You still had to go deal with the problem.
Right.
So talk about that part, finding the drivers, because I know that's the hardest part of this, man.
Yep. So that's the hardest part, and everyone wants to know, how do I find a driver and how do I maintain drivers? So as far as finding drivers, what we used to do is we used to actually go into the field. And what I mean about go into the field, get into the industry, we were at truck lots talking to drivers, actually seeing, okay, what do you want? What type of benefits do you want? What type of pay do you want? What areas do you want to travel in? How can we be the best employer for you? What do you want? So, going out, talking to truckers, seeing what they want to do. For us and my team, we all have CDL license, so we understand what a truck driver needs. We understand the hardships. We understand that being out there on the road. So we already have a certain perspective on that side as far as being out on the road, understanding what this trucker wants as far as benefits and things like that. Hey, Now, what we have to do is combine those two, because we still have to operate from an owner standpoint, and we still have to still a team goal. So all you have to do is really just combine those perspectives. It sounds easy, but it's extremely hard, because you have different circumstances, different situations with each driver. But some of the main ways to find a driver is to go to the truck lot. Now, you're going to see drivers every hour on the hour. That's your playground. Go to the truck lot and talk. Hey, I'm such and such. I'm thinking about getting into the trucking industry. Probably going to get a truck in the next 6 months to a year. What's some things that you guys are looking for? What should I be expected to pay? And you're going to be, honestly, they're going to have a full out conversation with you, because they're ready to talk. Drivers are ready to talk.
Yeah. So you say it sounds easy. It is easy, but it's still the fact that you created a very specific system, right?
Right.
That sounds like, oh, I'm just chilling. No. That's a system. That's part of the system, is that part of our recruitment for drivers is we got to get the research done first. We got to talk to these drivers. Now we're building rapport with them. They may be the driver that's going to come over to us, or they just going to give us enough insight so that we know how to keep drivers going forward, right? So that's part of your process, part of your system, and I love it, man. That's definitely good. So so now you guys started, officially. Before I say anything, I must commend you. Q, you and your team is one of the only people I know who always wear their gear. I love that. Always. Listen, that's me too. I support other people. I wear their gear, but you rarely ever see me in no Versace, no nothing. I got my BBI hat on. I got different I buy businesses shirts, because that's what I focus on. Right. And y'all, Regime, complete, priceless, that diamond, everything. I know what it is. You made a good brand, bro. So that's definitely a great thing. So, so now you got this business. It started to roll. You're like, okay, cool. We put processes and people behind it. We starting to expand. What made you stand out? Were there other people doing trucking management the same way, or were you really kind of like pioneering that part of the industry?
Right. So we really were pioneering. We are the trailblazers for this, because I think dispatching became so popular and so fast that people commonly mistake fleet management for dispatching. Right. So what we started to do is, because we were dispatching before fleet management, and what we learned as we started to grow, some of these roles that we're asking this dispatcher to do, that's actually not dispatching. That's something else. So we had to label that. And what we realized, what we were doing was we were actually fleet management. We're literally speaking with the driver, handling issues outside of dispatching, getting the driver a hotel if he or she needs a hotel, assisting them with maintenance issues, things like that, management type roles. So once we actually coined the idea and separated the two roles, it made sense. Okay, now I understand the route that we're on. This is the gold mine. Everybody is dispatching. We already dispatch. We already have a dispatching company. Let's add that to our management system. And it was a no-brainer from there. No-brainer.
I love it. Well, we might as well go into it now, and you explain more about what that whole management system is. Because I'll tell you right now, like I said, there's trucking industry, logistics industry, amazing. It's essential, right? COVID, everybody shut down, trucks still running. However, there's more to it that people don't realize.
Right.
Like, okay, yeah, COVID, you think that people were calling trucking recession proof at the time? Yeah, because then there became because of COVID, there was more rules in like the receiving, the warehouses and such. So now they would only let a certain amount of trucks in per day. So you may have your truck with your driver sitting there waiting, and you got to pay them during that time. And then you're missing the next load that they were supposed to get to in time. And then it became not as great as you would think. Then it started being more supply chain issues. Then it started being more driver issues. Then Amazon, Walmart, the big dogs started stealing all the drivers because they're giving way more benefits. Then, I mean, the list goes on and on for things that make it a little bit more difficult than people think it is, right? So trucking management takes that off of your hands, right? It doesn't mean that the problem doesn't exist. Just that means someone else is handling it and taking care of it for you. So explain more about what type of services is encompassed in trucking management.
Gotcha. And you explained all the issues perfectly. And for all those issues, we have found solutions for those issues. So, and that's something that we've tasked ourselves with for the last 2 or 3 years, is finding the issues. And what we realized, so basically truck management, with our services and things like that, one of the first things that we like to do is educate the fleet owner or the potential fleet owner. Hey, and we even have a platform, you can sign up for our platform to begin learning before you get waist deep or knee deep into this thing. To realize, is this something that you want to do? Because we see that, okay, you can make this amount of money, but do those cons outweigh the pros as far as the issues? Are those issues going to really cause you to have heartache? Are those issues really going to make you sweat at the end of the day and tired? So what we realized is, okay, boom, these are the issues. Let's find the solutions. Some of the issues, like you just mentioned, with drivers. Okay, what we started to do is to contact a lot of driver recruiters and continue to build our own rapport with drivers. Now we have a list of drivers, and basically you keep in contact with those drivers, no matter if they get a new job or not. One thing about drivers is they're always looking for more pay or better better lanes, better reasons, because the constant in trucking is change. Change is always going to happen. So you want to continue that rapport, continue building that relationship with these drivers and with these driver recruiters. Secondly, we do have a lot of issues going on with fuel at the moment, supply and demand. That whole thing makes it a question mark behind recession proof. And a lot of people are asking at the moment. Technically, logistics is still recession proof. Technically. However, several issues with that. One being equipment.
I remember that too. It was so hard to find trucks. There was a lot was going on.
Man, it's getting better, but it was at one point it was extremely hard to find trailers and extremely hard to find a affordable truck. Let me say affordable. They were still selling, but they were like 30-40% overpriced. But what we just started to do is kind of just build a relationship with dealers. When you guys, before these trucks even get in, send us that over. We're going to reach out to our clients. Hey, this is the setup. This is what the whole play. So basically just getting that education, like I said at the beginning, getting that education, making sure that you educate yourself. And with that education piece, you're going to understand how to manage your money before you get into this industry. Because once you're in too deep, this industry is going to suck your money up. It's going to suck it up fast. And it is. And that's just the industry that we're in, and that's like one of the main things is actually just getting the education piece. But from there, once you're having the education piece, we're really making all the strong, we're making strong suggestions on our end. We're helping you get your trucking company set up, getting your MC number, DOT number, all your FMCSA filings, helping you get set up with factoring companies, fuel companies, insurance, helping you find a driver, doing the driver road test, helping them with his ELD and compliance, getting all of that installed in your truck, dispatching you. We're running your payroll. We're speaking with your driver on a day-to-day basis, consulting your driver. We even have a platform now to continue educating your driver. So basically, a lot of drivers now, they come out of school and it's kind of like a basketball. If you don't continue dribbling, working on your skills, you lose. So they come out of school, they probably doing a pre-trip, post-trip, may or may not be doing that. We have a platform now that they can continue to hone in on their skills. But not just hone in on their physical skills, hone in on their money management skills. So now in our program, and that's one of the most important things that we've implemented this year, is actually helping drivers get their own truck. So we're helping the driver be self-sufficient, bringing him in as a company driver, helping them, start their LLC, helping them build their personal credit, build their business credit. Now they can go out and get their own truck. So they're determined to continue working for you because now they have a goal in mind. They have a money goal, and they know I need to stick with Priceless Regime because they're providing the education for me to continue this, because we're building business credit, some things that they may or may not have heard of prior to us. So that's one of our main perks when it comes to how we maintain drivers, because big companies, most times they are able to pay more than a small company, but we had to be creative. How can we assist this driver? The main way to assist a person is to help them get on their feet. So we decided to help them get their own truck and not just stop there. Of course, we're going to be able to dispatch them, and also we're going to help them with their compliance. That was one of the main things that we saw was the issue is drivers understood the trucking part of things, but it was the paperwork that continued to get them in trouble. So we know compliance. Come with us.
There you go.
Especially if that's one of your goals.
I'm telling you, bro, value. Yeah, I can't say, there's nothing else I can say. Once I heard what you was doing, I was like, yo, this is valuable. Everybody needs to know about it. And then after I've sent a few people to you, I was like, they gave great feedback. I was like, okay, yeah, 100%. I kept promoting it even more and more. Now, what about OTR, right? That's another issue in the industry, over the road. There's this thing called the Great Resignation is what they've been dubbing it. Okay. Ever since 2020, people their eyes have been open to, man, this sucks. I can't stand working for nobody. I want to work with myself, blah, 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 all of these things. And it has been affecting every industry. And from my perspective, I think it affected the trucking industry in terms of people didn't want to do over the road gigs anymore. They're like, nah, I want to be able to go home on the weekend and things. So that made a even crazy more shortage of drivers, because we had all these OTR jobs and nobody wanted to do those. How are you handling that?
So, and that's a great point. That's actually some great perspective and insight, because that was a huge issue, especially with the Amazons coming into play and with the last mile logistics. Basically, they're able to get you home, daily. So what we really had to do is double down on our purpose. We had to realize, what is this driver's why? We understand that you want to be home with your family, but what's your main reason, and what are you willing to sacrifice? Once we realized their why and what they're willing to sacrifice, we constructed a plan. Hey, we can put you on a plan. Let's go OTR for 9 to 12 months. Let's stack this amount of money. That way you can get your own truck. You can have your own business credit built, own personal credit built. And this is how you are able to go home every night.
Nice.
Simple as that. Had an issue, found the solution, came up with a plan. Now it's time to implement that. And that's what we had to do. That's what we had to do.
I like it. Give them that goal that they're working towards. That's going to help change, affect their why, and help to change their lives and things. I'm gonna give you something real quick. I don't know if it will be helpful or not, but feel free to implement it, bro, because I respect what y'all are doing. I kind of do it in business acquisitions, right? So maybe I'm giving away too many secrets to my acquisition style, but in business acquisitions, especially since I preach how you can get some businesses, you can acquire some businesses with no money out of your pocket, with no credit. It's because of how you stack the deal, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when I stack the deal, I may offer, sorry. Dude, I stacked the deal. I got this massage chair in here and it speaks. So here's me speaking, and it's like replying. But when I stack the deal, I may ask the seller, I may say, hey, you know what else I can do for you if you're willing to give me this creative deal structure that I put together? That, because they may come back and say, well, nah, I don't want to pay overtime. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that, which is related to my payment structure, right? But I'll tell them, okay, that you're going to get taxed heavily if I give you this $2 million right now to get your business. But if I'm paying you over time, that's one way to avoid the taxation a little bit. But even better, I'll tell them, hey, I know how to set up a trust. I know how to use infinite banking insurance. What if I help you to set that up and then the money's going into there and now it's growing over time and I tell them the benefits of it? Imagine you did that with trucking, with the truckers too. It's like, oh, you know what? You don't want to go over the road, but only for our over the road drivers, we'll also help you to set up an infinite bank. What's that? Oh, well, do you know that insurance is not what we think it is, especially what Black America thinks it is? Because we think insurance is, oh, I die and then it pays out some money to cover my funeral costs. No, that's not insurance. Insurance, you know, the wealthy know the truth about insurance and how they can use it to grow wealth. And how it's tax-free and how they can cycle their dollar multiple times without having to go to the bank and beg for money for anyone else. They're taking it from themselves. It's still growing. They use it for something as an asset that's going to produce revenue. They put it back. It continues growing still. Imagine you did that with drivers. Would that help you?
Man, you just added another model to my recruiting. Hey, this is serious. I got my pen and paper right here. This is serious because every time I speak with you, I know that you're going to put me on game. I know you're going to just have a different perspective on how to go about business. So I always have to have my pen and paper around you, and you got some valuable feedback.
I appreciate it.
And for sure, I love that.
Go ahead, bro. I got plenty more, man, because you know what? I relate everything that I talk to people about now related to acquiring business, right? So if you in real estate, that's exactly like buying a business, right? Even the terms that we talk about, DDP and seller for owner carry and all of this stuff, all of that is the same in real estate. Trucking, I just found that kind of connection there. And there's so many other industries. So yeah, man, I appreciate that you like my insight too, and I'm always happy to give it, my brother.
Definitely. But yeah, I just recently started my life insurance policy to basically I'm building my own bank within this last year. So top of this year, you know, I finally got to a place where I'm like, okay, let me learn about this. I continue to hear it. Let me learn about this. Let me buckle down, and boom, just made a move, and I'm loving it.
Nice. That's what's up, man. Let's get it.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think we at the point now, because we got enough overview and background and such, where we got to go to our pop segment. We are about to pop the trucking management industry. So what I want to hear from you are, what are the pros of trucking management, especially compared to the other aspects of trucking, right? So what's the pros of getting into the trucking management industry?
Gotcha. So for this segment, I'm going to give two perspectives on each section. So the pros, as far as when it comes to the management side of things, is unlike a traditional trucking company, profit margins are way higher because you don't necessarily own the equipment. You're managing it, but you don't own the equipment. So you don't have to necessarily spend out as far as when it comes to maintenance and the other expenses when it comes to trucking. The other perspective is for a fleet owner that has a fleet management or management team, you don't have to do the day-to-day things. So you don't have to speak with your driver every day. You don't have to keep up with payroll. You don't have to assist with any fuel card, factoring company issues, insurance issues, maintenance issues, all of those headache things. And the biggest one is you don't have to deal with driver issues, driver attitude. Like you don't have to deal with it. So it's probably more beneficial for the fleet owner to have a management company or management team within their trucking company.
Ooh, I love that, man. And you mentioned something else that we'll eventually come back to, but dealing with prima donna truckers is definitely another issue. I've seen quite a few of those, bro. It's like, woo. But let's keep going. I love that. So now, opportunities. What opportunities do you see in the industry right now from both perspectives why trucking management will be an important area to get into?
Gotcha. So again, I'm gonna give two perspectives. So when it comes to actually like trucking management, like I said from earlier today, it's a gold mine. Not many people are actually trucking management. They're not fleet managers. So they're doing dispatching, but they're not necessarily doing fleet management. So if you're looking to like learn that or like attack that lane, it's wide open. You just gotta actually know what you're doing. It's wide open. There's a lot of opportunity because a lot of people are not on this lane. As far as opportunities for a fleet owner, it's still trucking. It's still logistics. I know a lot of people say that, hey, what's the longevity of, drivers driving the truck and robots taking over? The thing about logistics is we're always going to need something to go from point A to point B. It's been like that from the beginning of time. Now, how they go about doing that, whether it's a horse and carriage, boat, truck, we're just adjusting.
Yeah,
that's as a fleet owner, we're adjusting to that. So if they want us to have an electric truck, boom, we're saving, getting business credit so we can get us an electric truck. We're going to adjust to the time. So there's always opportunity there. Another perspective is diversifying your portfolio when it comes to trucking. Even, fuel taking a hit, equipment, hard to find. When it came to that, there was still opportunity to make money, and you have to find the opportunity. And the opportunity to make money was in trailers. Like a lot of people don't realize that it's not the commodity doesn't move without this trailer. It doesn't move without this trailer. You can make a lot of money in trailers. So as a fleet owner, you have to diversify your portfolio and purchase you some trailers. Because with the trailers, you can rent them out to FEMA, which is huge right now because it's FEMA season. So what they'll do is they'll actually, rent out the trailer 30, 60 days, 90 days at a time, the duration of that FEMA season, and literally just place commodities in your trailer, and they'll pay you a daily rate for that, a nice daily rate for that. So, whether they send them down to Florida to put generators, MREs, ice, water, whatever they need to put in that, they'll pay you top dollar for that. Secondly, you can rent your trailer out to other people in the industry, or you can reach out to Walmart, Home Depot, and actually speak to them or speak to their brokers and say, hey, do you guys need 20 trailers? Do you guys need 15 trailers? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes. So the answer is 9 times out of 10 is always going to be yes. And another thing I want to let the people know, there's a program out there called Coop. Coop is basically the...
Is that C-O-O-P?
Yep, C-O-O-P. Coop is the Turo for trucking. So basically, they have a platform, and you'll put your trailer on their platform or your tractor on their platform, and in turn, they will rent it out. So basically, you just give and Coop is a program by Ryder. I'm sure everyone has heard of Ryder, big trucking company. So Coop is a program within Ryder. And with this program, you can literally place your trailer or your tractor on their platform, and they'll have it rented out for you. And you'll be making a daily rate on that. So.
Yeah, I did not know about Coop, bro. That's good. This episode is chock full of gems and whatnot. Yeah. Bro. Oh, okay, let's go. I love it. Okay. So that's opportunities that exist, and I love the different opportunities from different perspectives. I love it. But we got to talk about the problems, right? Right. So we said pros, we said opportunities, but we got to get into that problems. We've talked about many. But what would you think is the most important problem in logistics / trucking, specifically trucking management?
Gotcha. So again, I'm gonna give two perspectives. The most challenging problem we've seen on the management side is dealing with owners who don't come from a logistics background. They don't understand the trucking terminology. So it's hard to have dialogue. It's hard to get them to understand the reason why we birthed our educational platform, because we wanted our fleet owners and potential fleet owners to understand the industry. And the only way to understand something is to educate yourself on that. So, that's one of the huge issues. If you were to go down the trucking management road, is you will see that you're going to be dealing with fleet owners and individuals that probably come from a different industry, and they just don't understand the terminology and what's going on in logistics. When it comes to a trucking owner or fleet owner, one of the main problems I would say probably is drivers. That's one of the main problems is drivers. That's not going to change.
No, actually. Until the self-driving electric car trucks come out, then it will change.
Right. So yeah, I have a perspective about that as well. But yeah, I think one of the main issues is finding an efficient driver. Let's not say because don't think you just can't find any driver. You can find a driver easily, I would say. Finding an efficient driver. You know what I'm saying? There's different tiers of drivers out there. Finding an efficient driver, I think that's the hardest thing about being a fleet owner.
Makes sense. So since you tapped into it, what is it that you want to say about the electric self-driving?
Gotcha. So this is my only thing with the electric truck at the moment is I'm from Alabama, of course. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, home of the civil rights, very rural, very country. Unlike my time in Atlanta, I see that we have charging stations and we have access to those. In Alabama, lower parts of Georgia, definitely Mississippi, there's really no access to that equipment. It will have to be a lot of reconstruction going on to get these trucks because a lot of these roads are like still dirt roads. I don't know if a lot of people understand that the South is very rural, especially Alabama, lower Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana. Like you're on back roads a lot of the times when it comes to things. So I'm very curious to see how this reconstruction to benefit this electric truck, because there's a lot of routes in Alabama, lower Georgia, South Carolina. We may can do this in California, but how are we going to be able to do this in the deep South?
So basically, we're well far off before that actually.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because, I took one of my first electric vehicles. I took I see Lorraine said, who's going to load and unload the no driver trucks?
Right.
That's going to be at the receiving stations, I guess. Right. They'll have people unloading it. But good question, Lorraine. But I remember one of my first electric vehicles, I took a road trip. Wasn't even that far. It was Miami to like Tampa or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. I looked inside the car. It had this thing that pulled up on the screen saying, here's the charging stations along the way. And I was like, I don't remember, 300 miles away. Right. And I know I get 323 miles at a full charge. I was like, good, I'm good to go. Then I started driving and I was going with my two older sons. And we driving and it was so hot. We had the AC on super blast. They both plugged in their phones because, they was charging their phones. All of a sudden, that 323 max limit went down to like 2 something. I was like, wait a minute, something ain't right here. So I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'll get to the next charging station. I get to the charging station. It wasn't a fast charger. It was a slow charger. That's a difference of an hour compared to 3 days. Like, exactly. What? Yo, this trip, which should have been 3 hours up, maybe 3 hours back, ended up taking almost 20 hours to go up and back because I couldn't find the right charging stations and all this type of stuff. So as you were saying that, I was like, damn, that's right. I mean, obviously there's no driver in it. They're not gonna be plugging stuff in and all that stuff, but still, it ain't easy to, get that route right and have the right amount of chargers along the route with the right types of chargers along the route. And if it's driverless, how they charging it? So it has to get to the end point.
Station,
I don't know. There's a lot to do with this one. For sure.
Yeah, and they already have it. It's a route from Phoenix, Arizona to LA. It's already a route. You guys can Google it. But it's an electric truck, 18-wheeler. It drives itself already. Now, the only way that I see at this exact moment is you have to have a dedicated lane. And on that dedicated lane, it has to be a certain amount of miles. You have to know exactly what's going on. That's the only way I think you can be profitable at this present moment in time with those electric trucks. If you got a dedicated lane going about 300-400 miles a day, I say do it. If it makes sense as far as that route, you might be into something. You might be.
Well, are you guys preparing for as that transition continues on managing those type of assets as well, the electric self-driving trucks?
Yes. Yep. So one of our main things is education. Our top team members are prepared to go, because Tesla, they're going to give a class on it. They're going to have some type of class on it, even when it comes to being a mechanic or those electrical mechanics. Because I think with Tesla, the cars, you have to take those cars to Tesla. You can't take them just to a regular mechanic. But yeah, we're prepared to go to school for that, prepared to learn. I'm even prepared to be an intern at the company that's already doing it in Phoenix, Arizona. I want to know the ins and outs of this. What's the real issues behind it? So yeah, we're definitely prepared.
There we go, bro. So you mentioned something about the trailers, right? So I'm thinking from the container perspective, the containers that go on ships, sometimes, they take it right off the ship, drop it right on the back of certain trucks. I saw a business for sale that was all about the containers, right? Renting them out to the ships, to the trucks, this and that, maybe renting them out to FEMA like you just mentioned and such. Would you, who's in this industry, and you made the distinction on how important it is with the trailers from that perspective, would you be interested in acquiring a business like that where it's all about containers?
I would. Like I said, I know the trucking terminology. I know the numbers. So if that makes sense as far as the longevity, I want to know the longevity of their contracts. Who's their customers, who's their clients, the condition of the equipment, how many containers they have, and the areas that they're in. If all of that makes sense and lines up, I'm almost 100% positive that that's a gold mine, especially if you actually own the port. So,
there we go. At the same time now, I've seen a ton of fleets, like fleet owners that are selling their business. Now, you trying to come up, you got, an average consumer trying to come up and is like, hey, I want to start a trucking business. You got two options. You got three options, really. You could say, yeah, let me just let Priceless Regime start it for me. They're going to build it up for me and get it rolling. Or let me start it myself. Or let me buy one. Let me acquire one. And even if I acquire it, I can still let Priceless Regime manage it. Exactly. Right? So, or maybe Priceless Regime needs to start acquiring some fleets to continuously grow all of the assets under management. Because that's what you got. You got AUM, assets under management. And I tout that word a lot because of a challenge that I have going on.
It's a new word for me.
There we go. Listen, that word is important. I have a challenge called the $1 Trillion Table Challenge. By the end of this decade, I want to sit in a room at a table with people that look like me, especially, that have $1 trillion combined assets under management. What people don't realize, that doesn't mean I got $1 trillion combined in my pocket. It means that I own a portfolio of businesses. I own a portfolio of real estate. I own a portfolio of financial markets, stocks and stuff like that. And and their value combines to that $1 trillion, right? Now we're controlling assets. That's important for our people, our community, important for the regular person, period, compared to the wealthy person. We have to manage assets, right? Not just buy and sell them, but when we have them under management, that's our net worth. That's our true value. So will you be at that table, the $1 trillion table?
No, I'll definitely be there. Count me in.
There we go. Without a doubt. That's what I'm talking about, bro. So now that means if you say you're going to be there, that means I got to start really showing you more about this business acquisition life.
Show me the way.
I love it, brother. I love it, man. Listen, I always forget that you're in Alabama because I always, just think of you as Atlanta. Every time we linked up in the beginning, it was always Atlanta. Right. But I came across maybe like 6 trucking companies in Alabama for sale. We got to talk. Talk.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, that's what's up, my brother. Listen, so tell the people, is there any last word that you would like to give everybody about trucking management, about Priceless Regime, anything else you'd like to tell the people?
Gotcha. I would say, if you're thinking about getting into the trucking industry, whether it's this year, next year, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to always need to educate yourself, because like I mentioned earlier, the one thing in trucking, change is a constant. This industry is always going to change. We have to adjust. There's going to be a time where you're going to have the opportunity to buy an electric truck, and you probably, going to have to make that decision. Yeah. Fuel is going to go back down. It's going to go back up again. I can promise you that. Change is a constant in this industry. It's going to be a driver shortage again. It's going to be a time like no other when drivers are calling you to get in the truck. Yeah. Change is a constant in this industry. But what we have to do as fleet owners and individuals seeking to get in is continue to educate yourself. So what that calls for is really joining a platform, understanding this industry. We have a platform for individuals who are seeking to get into the trucking industry. This is where you can actually learn. Okay, before you get knee deep in or waist deep in, okay, how can I really handle these issues before the storm arrives? So that's one thing that I challenge individuals that's seeking to get in. Go ahead and invest in your education. Invest in your education.
There you go. I see we got a comment from Business Builder Bridge said, sounds like Priceless Regime needs to be in the BBI, bro.
Definitely.
I'm telling you, man. So I give two options. In the BBI, I teach how to do it. You can learn how to do acquisitions, finding the business for sale is the easy part. That's the part people are more scared of. Like, how do I even find one? Oh, trust me, when you go through my program, there's too many that you're gonna find, and the problem now becomes, how do I sort which one I really want to go through? But once learning it, I much rather teach a person to fish than to fish for them. But I realize that there's some people who are like, listen, I'm a busy guy. I don't got no time to go learn it. I just want you to do it for me. So in my Capital Beez company, I do have a acquisition consultation program, and that's another option for you. Join whichever you choose, my brother, because this is something that y'all need to do for sure to continue to build your wealth, so that I can make sure that you're sitting at that $1 trillion table with all of us, my brother.
I love it. Let's go.
So what's the best way for everybody to get in touch with you and the Priceless Regime?
Gotcha. So our Instagram page is Priceless Regime. As you can see there, Priceless Regime. My personal Instagram is QSoPriceless. You can reach out to us on our website, pricelessregime.com. But yeah, definitely tap in with us. Also, matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, Beez, if we can get let's get Entrepreneurship Exposed. DM me that, or DM our brand page that, and we'll do a free consultation. And all the questions that you have about this industry, let's go ahead and ask those. Have your list ready, and I'll be ready to answer those.
Let's go. We're gonna make sure we put all of that in the description below. Y'all heard that? I didn't even ask him about it. He's taking care of it. All you gotta do is DM him Entrepreneurship Exposed, and you get a free assessment and meeting to discuss it and see how you can get started. I love it. I appreciate that, my brother. My listeners appreciate it, and I appreciate what y'all are doing for the people, man. You're changing the game, and keeping people in the industry, even when the industry gets difficult. So let's go. All right. So my brother, Q, thank you again for coming, man. I appreciate you for sharing such great information for everybody. I think we got to wrap some more, because I can give you some more ways to incentivize those drivers too.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so thank you, my brothers. We'll talk a little bit more. Everybody, make sure that you like and subscribe on Entrepreneurship Exposed so that you don't miss further information like this, because we got a lot more coming. All right, see you on the next episode. We out of here. Let's go.